Race fans, good evening and welcome to the heart of the Midwest, the state made famous by the movie The Wizard of Oz. Plenty of cornholio going on in the infields as part of pre-race festivities as we welcome you to the Kansas Motor Speedway right here on Ghost Racing Network. As always, Matt Metler up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Booth. I want to welcome everyone and thank you for tuning in, bringing us into your homes, onto your phones, however you watch our eSIM racing coverage, as that field has been set. In fact, they are starting to grid now behind that iRacing.com pace car. 14 drivers set to take the green flag here tonight in what should be one epic showdown here in prime time. Go ahead and pull up the race information for tonight's main event. Again, Premier Sim Racers Club Xfinity Series Truck Series was last night on Monday night. This racetrack advertised as a 1.5 mile, however, it does clock in technically at 1.53. That's the distance around this place. Track temperature under the century mark, however, on the warm side of things, shouldn't be too terrible for these drivers to handle. 94.5 degrees, that's the track temperature. 982 feet above sea level. Ambient air, oh my God, I'm having a hard time talking tonight. Ambient air temperature, 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 53% relevant humidity. Partly cloudy skies, absolutely picturesque day here, or evening, I should say. And those winds out of the west at 9 miles an hour could be gusting to times to 12 to 15. And that could be something these drivers need to pay attention to as they're firing off into the turns 3 and 4 complex. Let's get that graphic out of the way for you folks at home. That field now racked and stacked just about behind that iRacing.com pace car. In fact, they're going to start to roll off. Again, want to thank everyone for joining us right here on Ghost Racing Network. Take a look at tonight's starting lineup. Making a lot of noise on the racetrack. James A. Morrison, that 18 machine, he's going to start on the pole. Outside of him, Keith Hume in that number 4 machine. Rolling off P3, GT, the money man, Izari from Side Job Racing in that 14 ride. Logan Key's going to fire off 4th, while Jason Chilton in the 41 out of the Atlantic Series going to roll off 5th. The HMFIC, Bad Man Pat from Assault Motorsports 6th. Barry Kramer's going to roll off 7th, while Travis Dickinson's going to occupy that 8th place position. Blair Patterson's going to roll off 9th, while Toby Keys from my home state of Florida in that 10th place position. Sam Bolden, 11th. Doc Stout going to roll off 12th. 13th belongs to Dustin Van Heusen, and rolling off 14th tonight, shotgun on the field, Jason Mullis, as we get ready to go green flag racing here. Barney sends it. They put the pedal through the floorboards. Green flag in the air, and we are rocking and rolling here from Kansas. These cars now come up to speed for the first time this evening. Oh, already contacted. Somebody just got knocked into next Wednesday. Patrick just got treated like a redheaded stepchild, got dumped point blank in broad daylight. Oh, I didn't even get the timing tower up yet. And already we're killing each other out there on the racetrack. That happened so quick, I don't think timing and scoring even picked up on it. So we're going to have to wind this back manually. Let's go ahead and roll that back. Again, this literally happening just after we took the initial green flag here. Yeah, timing and scoring out to lunch, because this was well inside the first lap. That ought to be good. Well, let's try this again. And this happening not even after logging one lap into the books. So I'm going to have to try and fight the software here just a little bit, but I think we're good. I'm going to approach this a different way. Let's go ahead and go to the eye in the sky here. See what the chopper cam picked up. You're going to see the 11. That's Kramer on the bottom. And the 93 of Pat, he's going to be working the top lane. About a car length off the wall here. This is their firing down the backstretch for the very first time tonight. He's in tow right behind the 41 at Chilton. And the 11 kind of drifts up and just tags him. Not sure maybe if he was trying to get something on his telemetry set right, but just goes up and just clocks the 93. Definitely a code red situation. Code brown more like it. The 45 barely gets by there. Talk about getting your blood pressure pumping early on in the race, and that's exactly what happened there to Patrick. Now going to take it back to the live side of things here. Under caution. So we barely got one green flag action here in the books. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, get ready to do this all over again here. In fact, I was going to try to bring Pat up in here to the broadcast booth to talk to him about that incident on the racetrack. However, I am not seeing him available for comment right now. Perfectly understandable. That crew chief spotter going to have to be the voice of reason. Get back inside. Get him back focused inside the cockpit of that race car because he has to be stewing. Involved in a lap one incident. Send it back up here to the point. Try this once again. Green flag in the air. Morris going to have the trigger once again, and he is going to mat that sucker. As the marketing slogan says, let's go places. That Toyota-powered machine is at the helm, and he is chugging. Great-looking paint scheme on Morris's machine once again here tonight. Always good-looking paint schemes in this series, in fact. Now going to enjoy about a 0.4 of a second advantage over Hume in that P2 position. Clean restart that time. Everyone up to speed here. Morris does not have any pressure from behind right now. However, we are fast and furious here for that P2 position. Logan Key's going to ride the top side of the racetrack, working the top of the fishbowl. He's going to get around the Ford machine. Oh, we got problems again. We're beating and banging off each other. The 11 of Kramer almost involved there once again. Son, it is okay. He didn't hit Pat again. However, that was also another big moment there for the 11. It was kind of the catalyst there that set off that first one is, well, Pat just got set. I don't think it was obviously meaningful contact. It just seemed like maybe the driver of the 11 was a little distracted, perhaps getting some settings fine-tuned inside the cockpit of that race car, but nonetheless, Kramer almost had another moment there as he runs just outside the top 5 in that 6th place position, up 1 spot from where he started. What's going on in the graphics department tonight? The things are just moving around here. We'll work with our producer to get that situated under the first commercial break. His big update just performed about an hour ago, and we're trying to work out some of the update kinks here, all a part of the process. It's now working lap 10 of the scheduled 120 here from Kansas. Some good side-by-side racing here, keeping it focused on the 43 and the 11. With Toyota on TRD action. Again, when you get pinned down like that, especially in this Xfinity car, and you can't really come up the racetrack, naturally that's going to be the preferred line around here, especially when you get back under throttle here, or giving it the business on that race car, is the car is naturally going to want to come back up the hill, and when you have someone to your outside that kind of pinch you down there a little bit, and that can prematurely burn out that right front. So something you have to be conscientious of here as a driver. Well, that battle seems to wind down a little bit now. The 43 back on the attack here once again. Really liking that high line. Just talked to a couple moments ago about what happens if you run that low line and you can't come up the racetrack. Well, if you stay at that high line too long, there's a lot of speed up there, but that can also spell trouble in the tire department, and you can, really burn out that right rear, get that thing hot and worked up, and once it does that, you're going to have your hands full for the remainder of that tire run until you're able to come down pit road and put some new Dr. Feelgoods on it. And just as I say that, 43, he's going to get a nudge. You just come down off the top shelf to the preferred racing line, and Hume doesn't want anything of it. You just challenged him to a jousting match and poked him out of the way there. Keith Hume continues to be on a recovery drive here. Remember, he started P2. Down 1 spot on the scoring pylon, but holds on to that final position inside the podium. Blair Patterson, biggest mover of the race in that 91 machine, already up 7 spots. And he has entrenched himself in that 2nd place position. Morris continues to carry the torch here, just now enjoying over or just about a 1 second advantage. Last time by, Morris ran a 32.17 to Blair Patterson's 32.09. So Patterson a little bit quicker. And in fact, that time by, they're going to flip-flop. Morris the faster of the two that last lap, so that could go back and forth until we start to see some fall off here from these Goodyear Eagles. Now, speaking of fall off, the other thing we could possibly see here, in fact, given the limited amount of cars on the racetrack here, things could get strung out a little bit. Especially here in the early going. Remember, you got to be in it to win it. Cannot win it on lap 1. You have to be alive, survive, and be alive till the end. So a lot of veterans drivers here in the series, they know that, and right now they're just probably out there trying to trim some of the fat off, meaning the amount of laps we have left in this race. We're pretty much single file here, nose to tail. 18 laps in, let's go ahead and go through the field here. We'll jump on board with the driver as well as we do that. Riding along here with your leader, James Morris, as he runs that high line on the racetrack. He's currently your leader. Let everything started on the pole, right where he wants to be right now, feeling good in the neighborhood. Blair Patterson, he is the man on the charge here. Wisconsin man, South Point Hotel and Casino, Las Vegas Little Bear Cookie Company. Shout, oh, he's in the wall. Blair Patterson, I am sorry, the broadcaster's curse is real with me. Every time I try to do this, shout someone out. Bad things happen. You see all those cars get by him. Just as we were going on board with him going through the field, so obviously that's going to put him back a couple spots. Logan Keys from Daytona Beach, fellow Floridian. Again, I'm about 4 hours south of him here. And remember, keep Florida in your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for a big hurricane. Could be the main event of the tropical season. So myself, hopefully Logan Keys, all other fellow Floridians. And in fact, if you're well inland, this is going to be a quick moving system. So if you're anywhere from the Florida coast up into, Atlanta, Georgia, the foothills, North Carolina, South Carolina, and then going off towards the Midwest, Missouri, St. Louis. You guys need to prepare for a lot of rain incoming. And that sounds crazy and far-fetched, but this is going to be such a big, fast-moving system. It's going to affect a lot of people here over the next coming couple days. Speaking of being affected, check out how that... Whoa, the 43 is a Twisted Sister coming off the corner. That car was spun every which way but straight, and somehow he manhandled that thing back straight. We're going to get the camera off of him before we do it again here. Jason Chilton runs in that 4th place position, watching the 43 do the dance, literally. Chilton seems to have a little bit better balance in his race car right now. He is not sawing at that steering wheel like we saw Keys doing just moments ago. Look at him doing the jig coming off the corner. That 43 is just ugly right now. But like Days of Thunder said, loose is fast and on the verge of out of control. Well, I could not. That is literally what's going on with that Toyota out his front windshield. GT Azari in that 14 machine. Richard Petty blue colors on board tonight. Summersville, South Carolina. Native currently runs in that 5th place position. He's running the low line, Eaton here on the bottom. Kind of looks like Kevin Harvick from back in the day. I know Harvicking really was in reference to Atlanta Motors. Barry Kramer currently runs in that 6th place position. Remember, he was the one that kicked off the first caution flag of the evening when he got into Pat. And on lap 1, now finds himself even with the board in 7th. Well, the HMFIC Patrick went for the spin and win. Well, that's what at least he's trying to do here, and he got the spin part out of the way. As that happened on the opening lap, now up to that 8th place position on the recovery drive. Blair Patterson, remember, we were on board with him moments ago when he got a piece of the fence and went sliding to the back. He seems to have stabilized in 9th, and he is still sliding around big time. Yet we're getting away from him. I don't want to wreck anyone else tonight. I've done that enough in the series talking about it. Dickinson in that 10th place position. He slid back 2 spots from where he started. Doc Stout holding on. Oh, we got problems on the racetrack. Smoke up ahead. Someone is in the fence. That looks like Logan Keys. I'll tell you what, folks, we were on board with him. I was concerned, and in the words of Phil Collins, I could feel that one coming in the air tonight here. Go ahead and cue playback. See what happened to the 43. I'm going to guess this car got just wicked loose on him. The 41's there, probably going to take a, oh yeah, look at that car twitch. Makes contact off the fence. That back end steps out. He's going to get smack-a-lacked there by the Toyota. Come up the hill. Oh, and the 14. A GT is going to give him a shot. Some damage to GT Azari, and then the 43 is going to lock it down. May go across the start-finish line backwards here as you see Barney just throwing his arm out of the socket, trying to wave that yellow flag, letting everyone know there's problems out there on the racetrack. Go ahead and wind this back again here. Let's go on board now. So I'm pretty sure that car just got ugly on him. And see Logan Keys working the steering wheel here, sawing at it, fighting this race car. Look at all that wheel he's feeding over, corrects it. Gonna smack the fence there. There's the first shot with the fence. That's gonna send him down the hill. He's gonna get tagged from behind. That's gonna rocket him up into the Geico restart zone there. Hits the wall. Then he's going to come back down the racetrack. This car's an uncontrolled lawn dart at this point in time. 14 of Azari makes contact with him, and he just has it locked down now, just crossing his fingers, praying this car comes to a halt. And everyone evacuates to the bottom of the racetrack. Great job by that driver keeping that race car up top, not coming back down in front of traffic. That's tough to do, especially at this racetrack. That's going to bring us to our second caution for incident this evening. Also do have a stage caution, I believe at lap 30. So this could very well be the stage caution here as well. With that being said, we're going to step aside, pay some bills, our first break of the evening, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Ghost Racing Network. Race fans, welcome back to Kansas here, as the cord chucking has been fierce here in the early going. Already a couple cars involved here in an on-track incident, as it's been hot and heavy, fast and furious through 36 laps of competition. Ghost Racing Network, of course, Matt up in the broadcast booth. As it's been all Morris here from the drop of the green flag. However, we had a couple bumps in the road getting this race going, an incident on lap 1. And then another incident just moments ago as Keys was fighting the Twisted Sister, being the handling on that race car. That was good for caution number 2. Back under green flag conditions, though. Again, want to take a moment to thank GTR Simulator, one of the premier strategic partners and sponsors of this series. Cannot thank them enough. In fact, all the partners and sponsors for everything that they do, all the men and women behind the scenes that work so hard and diligently. Without your support and everything you do for the premier sim racers, this would not be possible each and every Tuesday night here when they take to the racetrack. Focusing in here on Doc Stout. Doc has been stout out here, keeping out of the melee, the mayhem on the racetrack. That Dark Horse Ford Mustang still looks showroom brand new. Beautiful John Deere paint scheme on that ride tonight as well. Solidly in that 8th place position, up 4 positions from where he started. You're curious as to where Morris is? Well, he's checked out of Dodge. He's engaged the flux capacitor and is checking out on the competition. Looks like he has an all-wheel drive Nissan GTR under the sheet metal on that race car. He is now approaching, actually he is north of a 1.5 second advantage over Blair Patterson. If you want to see what that lead, that interval looks like on the racetrack, look out back. Morris's race car. Those specks off there in the distance. Yeah, those are the other cars. Blair's up there in the loose stuff. In fact, he may have got a piece of the wall there. He was so high up there in the marbles. South Point Casino on that race car, made famous by Brendan Gunn in the Xfinity Series. They're starting to chew into his lead once again here. After Morris's car fires off really well. But then after we run a handful of laps or so, Blair Patterson starts to be a little bit quicker. Not by much, but a couple tenths here. Or I should say a couple hundredths, a 32.06 to a 32.04. And just as I say that, Morris decides to turn it up again and starts to pull away. Talked about the weather here at the top of the broadcast. Let's go ahead and check in on it once again. That wind now steady up 1 mile an hour to 10 miles an hour. Ambient air temperature holding steady at 78. And humidity's down a little bit as that sun is now poked through the clouds. And that should heat up the track temp a little more, so we have to keep an eye on that. Pardon me, currently it is 94 degrees on that asphalt. Logan Keys, at 43, went for a wild ride there, top shelf of the racetrack. You can still see the damage to the back of that Supra. He's lucky that's all it is. It could have been a lot worse for him. Let's go on board, see if he's got that car snugged up any more than it was, because that thing was just uncontrolled cannon. He had a lot of speed in that car, but that thing was just evil. Still fighting it a little bit, but really the problem spot for him seemed to be coming out of the 3 and 4 complex, particularly turn 4. Oh, he almost... Man, that car is just stupid loose. He may have it set up like that too, but I don't think it's driving how he wants it with that damage. The 45 there, keys. Toby keys. On the bottom there, going to go around Logan keys. As we go back on board with the 43. He's having to put a lot of wheel in that car coming off of Ford. I think that's a big part of the reason why he had issues there. 15 laps or so now approaching lap 50 as we're writing 47 here in the history books. We'll send it back up front here to your leader. Morris has been a mercenary here in Kansas. That XFE machine has been LIT lit. Pit strategy could be a factor here, especially if he gets some long green flag runs. Let's go ahead and pull up that strategy vector. You can see Morris there, ran 28 laps, 28, and then came down pit road, put some new Dr. Feelgoods on that race car. How about Pat? After getting dumped there on the opening lap, what a rebound from him. As he now finds himself in that second place position. Similar strategy came down. He ran 26 laps. Obviously, he came down and put some tires on it after he did that slide for life, probably flat spotted the tires. Virtually everyone else on the same strategy, at least inside the top 10. Most of these drivers pitting on lap 28. Now currently working 21 laps on this current set of fuel and Goodyear Eagles. There he is, that Nitro machine. In fact, Toyota runs 1-2 right now. First Ford in line is going to be GT in third. Kind of digging that Trackhouse Racing font there on that Supra. However, in real life, Trackhouse is a Chevrolet team. But nonetheless, that font still looks like fire on that race car. Able to get that thing patched up a little bit. That little bit of damage she had there on the corner, that right rear of the race car is gone. He runs in that third place position. Tell you, the guys that have been not afraid to throw it around. Barry Kramer, Mr. Excitement this race. Keith Hume just set it in on the bottom, eating good in the neighborhood there. That matte black machine now just outside the money here in that fourth place position. Fourth, fifth, sixth. Kind of stacked on top of each other. You can pitch a 10 over these guys at times. However, they do run single file. Kramer, probably one of the drivers that has been the most eventful since the drop of the green flag, holding steady there in fifth. Father Doc in the 62, up 6 positions in that 6th place position. Number 62 on the race car, so thank him for your pick 4 lottery numbers tonight. If he does win, 20% goes to him for helping you out and supporting the cause. Chilton Still trying to get even with the board here. Slid back a couple spots in the early going. Just as I say that, he's going to take a peek on the inside here. 62 trying to be very courteous, give him plenty of room here as they come through the triangle. In fact, let's go on board with Doc here at 62. That car is getting loose on him too. Almost looks snap loose. And while you're on board with Stoutman, we're going to go all out wide open coverage here. You're not going to miss anything. Stick here with us right here on GRN. Race fans, welcome back to Ghost Racing Network as we just break from our all-out coverage. Battle here for third starting to heat up. Sawyer wants or has it. Hume wants it. In fact, he is almost knocking on the back door. In fact, he smacked him in the back. Right in the business end. Trying to get the 93 loosened up a little bit. In fact, Pat might have some PTSD from a little bit earlier in this race. That's probably the last thing he wants to see right now. And you see him grab another gear in that race car, trying to pull away here from the 4. Keith has not given up, though. I mean, he is right there trying to make Pat make a mistake, make a mirror drive. See if he can slip up the racetrack here, and Moore's ready to strike if he does. Any of you guys at home watching right now think you got what it takes to go out there and compete with these boys right here in the Premier Sim Racers Club? They do have spots available. Easy to get involved in the action. Reach out to Pat on Discord. Search the league in iRacing. You can apply through the server itself. Great group of highly competitive individuals. You love this Xfinity car. Get out there in the action. Oh, God. That's going to leave a mark, and I'm talking about streaks in the race suit. You almost got more than he bargained for there. In fact, we're going to pause that, hit the brakes. Check this out. I was talking about Pat maybe having some PTSD. Now the 4s may have a similar case going on here. Watch this. He's going to try to pull the Louisville slider on him going here into the tri-oval. He's going to come down off the banking right here. Remember, there's a little bit of a change in the pavement. You're coming off a slight banking. He hits the flats. That car gets upset. It gets a little loosey-goosey on him. In fact, it looked a little more intense outside the race car than it did from the cockpit. We'll roll that back here once again, and we'll watch this from outside this time. Able to bring it back up onto the racetrack and continue on. If you missed it, never even would have known it happened, but Keith probably having to regroup in there. Now go back to the live side of things. That's going to open up a window of safety, there for DeSallier. Give him some much-needed breathing room. Hume was stalking him like the Predator until it almost backfired on him. Continues to be all Morris, who is literally walking it out here in Kansas. 3.5 seconds, that's an equivalent of a Sunday drive in your own zip code. Continues to be the fastest car on the racetrack. However, GT, who is now snuck into that second place position. First Ford in line, still sporting the DQ Blizzard colors on that race car. However, he is 3.6 seconds back. 45 ride there, Toby Keys. He is a lap down now in that 12th place position. So he's going to slingshot around that Mustang on the high side. This driver's starting to get a little strung out again. Just mentioned the 93 machine. He is solidly in third. Has a chance to catch his breath and let his blood pressure come down a little bit as Keith is now about 1 second back in that fourth place position, Jason Chilton. About 7.46 seconds off the pace here in that Toyota. In fifth. Nothing runs like a John Deere. Doc is stout here in Kansas, having a good run inside the top 10 in sixth. Kramer is lurking, though. In fact, this is one of the closest battles. Now, let me take that back. This is the closest battle on the racetrack right now. Little Ford on Toyota action going on. See the backfire, the flames coming out of the pipes on the 11 when he rolls out of the throttle, getting into the corner. Not a ton of off throttle time here at Kansas. But there is some, especially as these tires start to go from Dr. Feelgoods to Feel Bads. Sam Bullen in the Fanatec ride. Chevrolet ZL1 Camaro, of course. A little bit of damage to the business end of that race car. In fact, it's got a smiley face. He's working on it. How did he do that to the back of his race car? Typically, you don't see it punched out like that. That's it's kind of affecting the way the air flows underneath that race car. I know it's kind of cut off there from the splitter, how he used to do things a few years ago in the Cup Series, but still, that is, he's got an Audi. That's in that 8th place position, Travis Dickerson. Got the Carolina blue Jordan Tar Heels colors on there, back from his college years. Really like the way that yellow pops on the side of that race car on the number. And of course, got the signature Air Jordan logo on the front, made famous from that NBA All-Star dunk competition when he took off from the foul line and smashed it. Again, this is all about half a lap down. A little bit more is he's currently about 17.20 seconds off the lead. Veldhuizen. Another great looking paint scheme on his race car tonight as well. Really dig those loud and vibrant color paint schemes, and Dustin probably has one of the best looking schemes out there on the racetrack in my opinion tonight. Got the metallic perp rims going along with it too. Logan Keys had a good run going earlier until that car just went twisted sister. We're not going to take it on him. Had to go down pit road, change his race suit, steam clean the inside of his race car. Put it back out there in competition. I'd go on board with him, but oh, gee, just talking about him, that car gets ugly. I'm getting away from him. Colby Keys. I did refresh the paints a couple times tonight, and it looks like he may have forgot to either apply his paint scheme for tonight or load up trading paints. But nonetheless, not a mark on that 45 as he runs in 12th. The South Point machine is currently on pit road, and Mullis has packed it up and already left the building as he's going to get credited here with a 14th place finish. Take a peek here at the infield cam. These cars come rocketing by. Got some action there on pit road. War Machine coming down for a green flag stop. Remember, folks, you go over that white line, you're going to have to throw it in reverse. Don't want to do that. He stops all 4 tires in the box. Crew can go to work. See the jack going up, new Goodyear Eagles going on. 2 cans of Sunoco Racing Fuel going to be the call here, and he's down and away. Great execution there on pit road as he comes back up to speed. Here comes the John Deere machine down pit road. Should be a similar story for him. Lock it down in the box. There you go. Clean entry. Jack's going up, and they're going to work. 13 comes in. Now, they didn't actually make contact there, folks. If you're new to iRacing, on pit road in close proximity there to those pit stalls, those cars ghost out, which means they cannot make contact. Now, you still can make contact on pit road, but when you're talking about the space relative to their pit stall, when the 13 came in, that was not contact. That's why you see those cars. They didn't react or act like they made contact. A little bit of an extended stop here for the 62. As he should have been down and away. So we're going to have to check in with the 62 there. But yeah, the 13 Fanatec machine down and away, so I'm not quite sure. Perhaps he was making an adjustment there, fixing some damage, but 62 going to lose a lot of time here on pit road. In fact, his pit delta going to be 1 minute and 25 seconds. And if you're looking at the 13 machine, who we watched pretty much come down pit road at almost the same time, was 1 minute and 12 seconds. So not quite sure the reason for the extended stop there for the 62, but nonetheless, he does have a dark horse back out on the racetrack. Morris. James Morris. He has virtually led everything. He's now going to give up the lead as he comes down for service in that Toyota machine. He's going to drop the hammer pulling off of pit road. GT Azari did have the lead. He's gonna give that up to come down for service. Typically, after the leader comes down or one comes down, it's come one, come all. Here comes Pat in that Nitro machine. Both these cars, Jack's almost going up at the same time. See who's going to win this battle off of pit road. I mean, virtually, the Jacks are in sync. And no, I'm not talking about bye. However, that's what GT is trying to do. Man, he really sent that car off the pit road. Good launch there for him. The Pat machine close in his proximity. Oh, the 11 got a little piece of the wall there. Kramer crammed it again. These cars are tough, but you don't want to give yourself too much self-inflicted concrete poisoning. So that will definitely affect the aerodynamic characteristics of these race cars. The next gen's a little more rugged. However, that toe link is a little bit of a soft spot in that car, but usually it holds up better to repetitive contact with the wall better than these Xfinity cars do. Is that's basically just, well, not that the next gen cars don't have a lot of hung sheet metal, it's just a completely different chassis and design. Really, the Cup Series has really never seen this big of an overhaul, or is, they talk in, on the retail side of things with cars that are produced on an assembly line, this big of a new platform, probably since NASCAR was incepted. No more 4-speed H patterns. You got sequential shifters, transmissions mounted on the rear axle these days, multi-link rear independent suspension, 17-inch tires, 1 lug instead of 5. Everything is different. The current Cup Series car, or next gen as they call it. GT goes fast, goes purple, fast lap of 31.20. Good for a top speed that lap of 193 miles an hour. There he is. And look who's stalking him. Keith back for more. Let's go on board with Hugh. We're on board with Keith Hume. Caution back out once again here at Kansas. Toby Keys, I think, has bit the biscuit again. Go on board here with Keys, see what went wrong. Oh, no. In fact, this is the other Keys. I believe it's his brother. Let's call this one back just a little bit. Oh, please come back. There we go. This car is just going to get hit by some dark voodoo here. Going to send it up top. Working the 43. Oh, friendly fire, guys. Come on. Oh, he gets pinched. The 43 bonks him, turns him up into the wall. And that would be why that race car got ugly. So 45 and 43, the Keys boys involved here in an incident, and the 43 is going to come up and tap him again. The words of Happy Gilmore give a little tap, 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 tap-a-roo. 45 is going to come to rest just after the flag stand here at the start-finish line. So this is going to make things interesting. These drivers do have more tires in the pits. And everyone inside the top 8 on the lead lap did come down there on lap 93. See Hume trying to work some heat into those tires. However, James Morris did cycle back to the point. And we know how good that 18 is out in front and in the clean air. I mean, we have seen him just stretch it out at times. I don't know if we've seen everything GT has to offer in that dark horse, though. I think he may have been holding a little something back. Doesn't want to show all his cards. Veteran race car driver. He knows how to get it done here at Kansas. pull up the pit information. And you can see Morris, Azari, Hume. In fact, we're getting conflicting information here. We're going to go with everyone coming down on pit road there, lap 93. We'll give this a chance to update, and we'll come back to it. Barney still fisting that yellow flag high into the air. This caution reigns supreme once again here at Kansas. You guys like short track Friday night shootout specials? Well, you're about to get one. Strap yourself in here. There's 25 laps remaining in the main event here tonight. Everyone going to be racked and stacked, shuffled, back on top of each other once again. Everyone now has a chance on the lead lap to go up there and try to dethrone the 18. In fact, on this restart, it's going to be Morris, Yazari outside front row. Then you got Keith Hume and the HMFIC Pat, who continues to be impressive after getting dumped early. Chilton, Veldhusen, Barry Kramer, and Dickinson. That's the top 10 as we get ready to go back. Green flag action here from Kansas. That pace car is going to pull off. Wait on the Geico restart zone. Green flag in the air, and Morris tries to catch him on the snooze button, and he does. As that car is going to jump out to about 0.3 of a second going into the turns 1 and 2 complex. However, that 4 Hume, he really got that thing rolling and shoot about 1/10 off of it. In fact, he's got a head of steam coming off the top shelf for Mama Hides the Cookies, working with the 14 of Azari. Single file ripping here at Kansas. Pitch a blanket over these guys here inside the top 5. Pat lost a spot or 2 there on that restart, as I believe he was in 3rd. Or, excuse me, lost 1 position there on that restart. He restarted 4th. But he could potentially be some trouble coming here in the near future, as these guys are racing their guts out just in front of him. GT sends it down to the flatlands as Morris has lit the afterburner. He goes fast lap of 31.04. And he knows now it's time to push hard. Well, he can push, well, doesn't want to go all out, but he's pushing, trying to get away from these guys. Just 22 laps now remaining. Azari in 2nd, Keith Hume 3rd. Pat back to 4th. .47 now challenging on the high side of the racetrack. He's going to sweep by, but the 93 is going to send the biscuits on the bottom. To side-by-side, John Force Special coming through the Geico restart zone at the start-finish line. At attack by a nose. .41's really fighting him hard here. Going to try to make the 93 use his stuff up. And the 41, he's going to cook that right rear if he keeps pushing it that hard on the high side of the racetrack. And these cars already get loose enough after a couple laps here. The 93 will prevail. In fact, let's go to the bumper cam on the 93 machine. You can see that Toyota lurking, trying to be like the Intimidator, stalking his prey, trying to get them to make a mistake, trying to dial up the excitometer inside the cockpit of the 93. Now just inches off the bumper. Pat breaks the draft, sends it down to the flats. But remember, that car can get wicked on you. It can snap loose. Keith Hume will tell you all about it. It happened to him during this race. Now the 47 looks inside. The 93 throws the block. Here comes the bump. is going to try to get a run here on the top shelf for Mama hides the cookies. Well, the 93 really got through that corner good. Did not allow the 47 there to get a run. Now just 17 laps to go as we're covering this battle. That Supra pokes it, nose closer. He sniffs high, goes low. He's going to make contact. But 93 has to get out of the throttle. We're going to widen it back out. How did the 47 not get around him? I heard the 93 had to bark the throttle there. Perhaps Chilton decided he didn't want to pass him that way. Oh, we know he gets a piece of the wall. Is now both these drivers have to mentally and physically reset. Is the battle for fourth is hot and heavy. In fact, Chilton probably going to let his tires cool down here one last time before he tries to make a final push. Remember, these two guys were fighting really hard. Probably overheated that right rear just a little bit. At the front of this thing, it is all Morris. He is not under siege, under fire, under duress. It is smooth sailing for the 18. Looks like he's driving a 900 horsepower 2JZ powered Supra tonight, literally. Just incredible speed and performance for Morris. Continues to grow that lead. Morris has just incredible short run performance in that race car. Then after a couple laps, I mean, he starts to level off with GT. But the problem is by the time it levels off, or at least, equalizes, Morris has already got a second and a half lead plus. Let's see if the Blizzard man can dial up the cold here one more time before this one's all said and done. But he's running out of time, just 12 laps to go. Hume holds on to that final podium position. Patrick DeSawyer wants it. He's in third. From Northern Mass, up in the Northeast. Ball is in the air. It is starting to get cold up there. But he is vibing inside the cockpit of that race car. Chilton runs fifth. Even with the board, that's where he started, that's where he runs. Kramer has had an exciting night. A couple scary moments out there on the racetrack. However, he's kept that Richard Petty blue Toyota Supra clean. Currently runs just outside the top 5 in 6th. Travis Dickinson in 7th, up one spot from where he started, and Dustin Veldhusen started pretty much shotgun on the field, up 5 spots in 8th. And Mr. Stout, the Doc version, in 9th in that John Deere machine. Remember, folks, he had an extended stop there on pit road about 25-30 laps ago and gave up a lot of costly track position there, and he still made some spots from the drop of the green flag, but He was fighting there inside or just outside the top 5 not that long ago. This is 62 now, almost 12 seconds off the lead as Morris continues to keep the afterburners lit. There we go. Camera control just did not want to cooperate with me there for a moment. GT throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at that Ford, trying to find some way to possibly stop the bleeding and go back up there and run down Morris. Now, the last couple times we cycled back to a new set of shoes, Morris was able to stop the bleeding and, in fact, at times gain or chew back in to the deficit. But not this run, as Morris has just let it rip tater chip. Last time by, Morris a 31.04 to a GT 31.16. Two fastest cars on the racetrack do run 1-2. Being Morris and Azari there. Then you have Hume here in third. I believe this the closest battle on the racetrack right here at this point in time, and it is. Gentleman's handshake lap in the air as it's now 5 to go. Barry Kramer runs 6th. Travis Dickerson in 7th. Dustin Veldhusen in 8th. Doc Stout in 9th. Sam Bolin in 10th. Logan Keys in the 43 in that 11th place. And Toby in 12th. Other two cars already packed it in, and they are gone from the racetrack. It is just 4 laps to go here from Kansas Speedway, here in the heart of the Midwest. Going to send it up top. We ride along here with Morris, who has put together literally a flawless performance from start to finish. Sat on the pole, put up a blistering pole speed. And since the drop of the green flag, he has had the keys to the city. Only lost the lead, I believe, once over the course of this race due to pit stops. Dirty air, no problem for this race car. That XPE machine sliced and diced its way through everything back to the point and continues to maintain a 3.5 second advantage over GT in second. Popsicle sticks go up, 2 laps to go. Azari going to send it in on the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. Last thing Morris wants to see here is God forbid, a yellow flag. As he sends it in on the high side. You can see Barney wants to get to that white flag, and he does. White flag in the air one more time around for James Morris. Very similar lap as he works the high side of the racetrack once again. He's going to put it back to the floorboard and light a rocket down the backstretch for the final time. Currently checks the mail, sees nobody in the relative close proximity to him as he comes off the 3 and 4 complex for the final time. He's going to give a wave to the fans, and nobody circles the wagons in corn country like Alfred James Morris. With a dominating win here at Kansas Motor Speedway. That TRD was FAST fast from the drop of the green flag. And one of the most dominating wins you will ever see here on the iRacing servers. GT is Zari. And that GT Dark Horse Mustang in that second place position. Keith Hume going to come home in third. And how about the recovery drive from Pat? As he got blasted, literally lap one of the race, got spinning down the racetrack like a redheaded stepchild. Able to rebound just outside that podium in that fourth place position. What a job from him. We follow him down pit road. But the man with the plan, Morris, is he's going to burn it down in prime time, get the rest of the good out of those good years. Blow that sucker sky high now, man. You don't need to get the rest of the good out of that race car, bud. You cannot say enough about the performance. You can see he's got that tachometer buried as he's burning it down. Your winning moment right here on Ghost Racing Network. James A. Morris. So he's going to tow it back to the pits. We get ready to interview our top three drivers. Give them a moment to check, finish quick conversations up with their team, and then jump up here to the waiting room in the broadcast side of things. See if these drivers are ready to chat with us up here in the broadcast booth. See if we can grab our winner. Mr. Morris, Matt up in the GRN broadcast booth. You got a copy there, bud. Try it once again. Mr. Morris, Matt up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy there, boss.
Yes, sir. How you doing this evening?
Man, how am I doing? I am doing absolutely fan-freaking-tastic after that performance you just put up here in Gord Country tonight, man. You start on the pole, and from the green flag, it looked like you had 1,000 horsepower all-wheel drive Nissan GTR under you, as that car was absolutely laser fast out there on the racetrack. How were you able to put together such a dominating performance here tonight, bud?
GHR, this team, these guys, if it wasn't for them and Outlier backing me up and all the information that comes from them guys and to teach me how to become a better builder and Keith over there, I couldn't do it without them guys. They're the reason what makes this thing go every week.
You know, you bring up such a great point. A lot of times, I know we get caught up as broadcasters, media, and the fans and focus on a particular name, the driver, in this case you, but it's like you said, it's not always about you. It's about the people you surround yourself with, those core guys that drive us to be better, the things we learn from them. And that certainly has been a big part of your success, hasn't it?
It really has. It's, at the start of the season, I was with another sub shop, and I made the move, and it was time for a change, and it was the best decision I made. I've had so much fun racing again. I had so much more speed. Like, these cars have been so fast, and this is literally my favorite racetrack on the sim. So to come here and perform, man, I can't thank Keith enough for even GHR. I can't thank him enough. I just can't.
Dude, I can hear it in your voice how much this race win, this team means to you. And it's not always easy making a change, especially when you have friends, relationships built. But sometimes you have to take that leap of faith. Sometimes you need that spark, that catalyst. And it really seems to have paid off big-time dividends for you. I mean, talk to me just how much. Talk to me about this racetrack and how much winning here on this stage means to you, bud.
You know, winning here for me is about winning Darlington, winning the Coke 600, the Indy 500, winning one of those crown jewel races. This race, this particular track. When I see it on the schedule, it's automatically checked. When I come here, it's laser focus because I know if I stay out of trouble, it's going to be a good night every time. I love this place. God.
Well, I'll tell you what, you seem like Superman out there tonight on the racetrack from the moment that car unloaded through qualifying and staying out of trouble. The best way to do that is just keep your car, so far ahead of the competition, they can't even see it. That's virtually what you did most of this race tonight. How were you able just to be so fast, not only on the short run, but over the long run as well? That car just never seemed to fall off.
It was able to take care of my tires. It was able to roll when I'm getting to the corner, being able to roll off, let it roll in, and ease into the throttle, and not just stab the throttle. Just roll it in, let the momentum use the throttle, help turn the car a little bit, and to let the car naturally just roll, and not forcing the car, and just let the car do all the work for me. And that was just how I was able to do it. Being able to take care of my car, let it do the work for me, not fight the car. That's just how I was able to do it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know how to get around this place like a pro, James Morris just laid it out for you as he put together one of the most dominating performances I have seen at Kansas Speedway. But before I cut you loose and let you go celebrate this one with your team, I know this means a lot to you. Who do you want to thank who helps you get it done, bud?
First and foremost, Outlier, Speed, GHR, Keechum, everybody over there, Barry, Jason, Travis, our spotters, our crew chiefs, everybody over there, for the fiance for putting up with me being here, and of course for you being in the booth. So, hey, thank you enough as well.
Hey man, I appreciate that. I love watching you guys race. Always thrilling. You guys put on such a great show out there each and every time you guys go to war out there on the racetrack. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, not afraid to make changes and put his heart and soul into race preparation to yield big results out there on the racetrack. Gets a big time win and one he'll remember from quite some time here at Kansas. That is the winner of tonight's race. That is James Morris. Thanks for joining me up here in the booth, bud.
It's always a pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Another driver James just mentioned, Keith Hume, joining me up here in the broadcast booth. Now you got a copy there, boss.
I sure do. How you doing, Matt?
Dude, man, after watching that race, I'm doing fantastic. I just got done talking to James, and he probably mentioned your name more than his in that interview. Just so thankful.
That 18 car was a missile tonight, and I knew from the time we rolled onto the backstretch that it was going to be a race for second place, and I came up a little short on that one. GT ran a heck of a race.
GT ran a heck of a race, and man, you ran, a hell of a run here tonight. Talk to me about how this car unloaded. Did you have to make any changes over this course of the run tonight to the racetrack? Play any games with you out there, or was it pretty much just a typical outing here at Kansas?
It was pretty much exactly what we expected. We had a plan for what we were going to do on every pit stop. We knew what we were planning on doing, and we didn't really deviate from that.
Well, a lot of times when you come in, first of all, when you put in the amount of time in preparation that you guys do, obviously you're going to come here with a solid plan that you guys are going to feel confident with. And then next thing you do is execute, which you guys always seem to do so well. You mentioned that 18 car, and again, he really thankful, to be on board with you and everything that you guys do together. What was the difference between your car and the 18? Any idea what gave it just that little bit more of an edge over your car tonight, or was it really that driver behind the wheel just giving it all he had tonight?
It was the dude in the seat because we both put the exact same setups under our cars tonight.
Hey, man, well said. And I'm telling you, I haven't had an interview in that long where I had a guy that was that thankful and that fired up to be working with you, man. And hopefully you go back and listen to his interview. But that was one of the interviews I'll remember the most, Keith. But hey, man, before I cut you loose, buddy, once again, another great performance here in prime time, representing Alabama well once again. And before I cut you loose, Keith, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that Ford machine?
Well, tonight we had, and I looking at the broadcast, it doesn't look like it showed up. We had Nationwide Children's Hospital and on our sleeves on our car tonight. And as always, we've got South Point Hotel and Casino, the Home Depot, Monster Energy, KK Grayson Construction. But GHR as a whole is we have been working our tails off. James does a ton of work, and he and I are on the phone 2 or 3 hours a day, every day, talking about race cars or life or what we're having for dinner or my kid, or it's we've built this rapport that is has been incredible. And James is thankful for me, man. I got the one of the best guys in iRacing out there working on my stuff every week, and I'm more thankful for him than he is for me. And I know it's hard to believe, but James Morris is a heck of a dude. And every time he sends me a text message and says, "Hey, we need to talk," I ask him if he's quitting, and he says he's not. But I am not looking forward to the day that he decides to make a move.
I don't think he'll be doing that anytime soon. That it's really a testament to just when you have that chemistry and you put the seat time in, and you got guys that are just as passionate about sim racing as the other. What you can do when you combine forces together, and that's really a true testament to what we saw out there on the racetrack tonight, Keith.
Yeah, and obviously we appreciate you jumping up here on this booth. You do a heck of a job. I want to go back and watch the Bristol one. I know you had some storms come through and had to do a tape delay on us, but we're thankful for what you're doing up there. We're thankful for Patrick and Logan for putting this on and going out there and going to battle with us every week.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, Keith. We actually getting ready for a hurricane here. Should be a little intense Thursday and Friday, but we'll get through it. Us Floridians always do. I appreciate the compliment. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, proof that hard teamwork, dedication, and having passion for something and sharing it amongst your peers can translate to big-time performances out there in prime time. That's the driver of the four, Keith Hume. Thanks for joining me in the broadcast booth, bud.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good one.
You too, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the interviews tonight. Looking here for GT, and I just cannot seem to find him here. Super Faps, he's already out celebrating with his team. But once again, here in the Premier Sim Racers Club, guys, you think we got what it takes to get out there and run with these guys in prime time? Telling you, reach out to Pat. They got some spots available. You love the Xfinity cars. You got what it takes to, mess in the ranks or race within the ranks of these guys. I'm telling you, go out there, give it a shot. You'll be glad you did. I want to thank everyone again for all their hard work and dedication, all the partners, strategic sponsors that make this series possible. Without you guys, it certainly would not be the same each and every time we're out there on the racetrack. Again, want to shout out the top three drivers here again tonight. What a run by James Morris. Just a legendary performance. GT Azari comes home second. And a very solid run from Keith Hume here in that third place position. Unfortunately, it's come to that point in time in the broadcast where all good things must come to an end. I want to thank all our partner sponsors, the drivers, and all of you guys out there on Ghost Racing Network who welcome us into your homes and onto the phones and however you get this eSIM racing coverage. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life, do us all a favor. Don't play in traffic, and we'll catch you next time right here on Ghost Racing Network.